All right, Indianapolis moms, we are back, and I'm really excited to have Lisa Buxar from Hancock Health with us again this year. Lisa, before we
Hello.
get started, can you just share a little bit about your background with us?
Sure. So my background is I'm a labor and delivery postpartum nurse. Also worked as a NICU nurse at another hospital. So as I tell my moms in the office, I have a little experience with moms and babies, including our blended family of 5 kids here at home too. So that seems to help with my credibility a little bit. So yeah, that's what I do.
I love that. So let's just get right into it.
Sure.
The first thing I want to ask you is, new moms, or even if it's your first, your third, your fourth baby, it's really overwhelming. So,
Mhm.
what are some questions that you recommend moms take with them when they're going to the hospital?
Absolutely. One of the things that I do with my moms in the office at 34 weeks is talk about a little bit about their birth plan. If someone Googles a birth plan, it can be completely overwhelming. So, what I do is sit down and give them kind of a template and say, this is your wish list. And I go through some of the things on that wish list, including, what are your preferences? What kind of pain management? And what are some other things that you've maybe read about or your friends told you about that you want to do? Then I say, take this with you to your next appointment. When you see your provider, if you have questions about those things, ask them about that. Bring it with you to the hospital in your bag that you've packed. Give
Mhm.
it to your labor nurse because then we can weave those preferences in there. So that kind of gives them it. I think that empowers moms. So I think that's important.
Right. Because it is. It's overwhelming. It can be scary. We
Yeah.
chatted last week about, especially everything that's going on with COVID too. That was really great conversation. So definitely, I think that's helpful to know, be prepared.
Right. Be prepared and who your designated support person is going to be because that varies from hospital to hospital right now and what that looks like. So have a good conversation, call the office, always ask.
That's good. And I think moms also need to know that there's no such thing as a dumb, I hate saying it like
Oh
that,
my gosh.
question. Ask
We are
questions.
right.
It's totally okay to do that.
I tell every mom that I come in contact with, there's no silly question. And, if it's important to you, it's important to us too. And I'd much rather you call us as the experts than Google things on the internet that might not be correct. Yeah, exactly.
That Google trap, don't get in
Yeah, don't
it.
go there.
So, what are the three top things that you recommend moms pack in
Sure.
that hospital bag to take with them?
Sure. Well, this one's maybe not as packable. You might want one of these for that person, but your support person, we already talked about that. And whether they can be with you in person or even on FaceTime. I actually have a scenario coming up with a mama that her husband cannot be there. So I'm going to be there and doing a virtual person with her so she
Cool.
can have her support person there. So keep that in mind. Comfort items during labor. Sometimes your own pillow from home is way better than what we have. Maybe it's a focal point that's something that's babies, like a stuffed animal. Music. Oh my gosh, there's some really cool playlists on Spotify that are free, that are pretty fun and funny, some of them, but that's always a good thing too. But don't forget your cell phone or your camera because you're definitely going to want to record this really cool experience.
Yes, and chargers. Bring your charger.
Yes, bring your charger, but we have a few floating around too, so we're good.
Perfect. So, postpartum depression and or anxiety. These
Mhm.
are pretty serious things, kind of taboo to talk about, which is unfortunate. We don't want it to be like that. So, what are the things? What are the signs you should look for, and
Right.
what is normal, and what would be typical, and then what is something when you should definitely reach out to your doctor about?
Absolutely. I'm really happy you touched on that. That's something I actually address in first trimester and again in third trimester because it is that important. And let's face it, we're women. We tend to say, we got this, we don't need help. Sometimes you do, because about 1 out of 9 women actually do experience clinical postpartum depression. So The difference between baby blues and postpartum depression. You know, baby blues, it is so normal, underline that, normal to feel really overwhelmed after you have a new baby, whether it's your first or your fourth. It's emotionally and physically draining when you have a new baby. It's okay. You'll get your groove back, and you should get your groove back. But when you're not feeling like that and those baby blues just don't go away, that's kind of a red flag of when you need to call your provider, reach out to a friend and say, this isn't normal. So about 2 weeks. Uncontrollable crying, fatigue, exhaustion, meaning you're not sleeping when you have the opportunity to sleep because you just cannot sleep. Depression, sadness, helplessness, those are things that tie in. But sometimes moms have this intense anxiety or fear that something's going to happen to their baby, even when it's not justified to have that happen. Hot and cold flashes, dizziness, increased heart rate, those are some things too. But the bottom line is when you're not really feeling that great again after about a couple of weeks and you feel like you're in this fog, please reach out, because we have things even in our office. We have a licensed therapist in our office, maybe medication short term. There's a lot of things you can do, but call your provider, please.
I love that. And I like how you said it's very normal to feel overwhelmed. And
oh my goodness, yes.
That, especially when your hormones are all over the place, you are so tired, you know, it's overwhelming. And then whether it's your very first experience with a baby, or if you have other ones you're trying to manage at home with the new baby, it's a lot. So I appreciate how you said that's very normal to feel overwhelmed, because it is.
Absolutely. It is. It is.
So when, besides contacting your doctor and things, let's talk about support groups, you know, prenatal, postnatal, even lactation supports. What are some support groups that mamas can reach out to, you know, before, during, and after pregnancy?
Right. I love support groups for our moms. In fact, they just continue to grow. And I actually, last Sunday, let me just share, we have what's called a bump club. Yes, bump club for our second and third trimester moms prenatally. And I just got the most lovely picture of 6 moms and their babies that didn't know each other prior to that group, met, and they still are in contact. They sent me a picture of their almost 1-year-olds. They're connecting virtually. They're doing all these things. So there's a lot of cool things that come out of a support group like that. So any pre-pregnancy group is awesome. Enlist your team. You know, those people who say, oh, what do you need me to do to help with this baby? They mean it. And it doesn't mean that you have to sit and entertain. I would much rather go over and clean a girlfriend's house, cook a meal, do that, to know that she can spend time with her baby after baby comes. Household chores and things like that, you know, delegate those. Even better, some moms get connected earlier with doulas that they use during birth. And doulas can even help you in that postpartum period. And there's some great doulas that I know and that are even in the Indy area too. Those are great things to connect with as well. But afterwards, definitely a breastfeeding support group. A lot of hospitals are doing those virtually. Some are doing them in small numbers, one-on-one, just call and ask. But breastfeeding support is not only in the hospital, but it's also afterwards. So please reach out. These ladies are phenomenal. The girls I get to work with that are lactation nurses, they really do an amazing job to help our new moms and the experienced moms. But any other moms groups you can find, like Indianapolis Moms Blog, you have a wealth of resources for these other, it's amazing. And I just keep connecting you with all of the women that I have contact with too, because you just never know. Yeah. So yeah, I go for that.
Well, that's why I love our community, because there are moms all the time in our groups, you know, North Side, West Side, all of them that come on and say, I need help with the daycare, or I need help with my newborn, or I need help with this. And it's ranging anywhere from once you become a mom to when they're in middle school, high school. And I love having all of those voices of support that I can bounce ideas off of. So I'm glad you said that, because that's what I thought of about groups was people that continue to be there after their newborns and they're 1 and 2 and 10.
Right.
You need a tribe at any stage of having a baby. My kids are high schooler age now, and let me tell you, the support even increases then when you need that for your kiddos. So I love it too.
And I love how you mentioned your bump club. It reminded me when I had my son, he'll be 10, which is so sad to me. But we had our group that we did all the prenatal classes. And actually there were, I think our group, there was maybe 8 families, but 4 of us were in the hospital at the same time. We all went.
Oh my goodness.
And so we all, you know, we would like push our babies around and just wave and say hi. So that was fun to actually know people on the, you know, postpartum floor. So I love that you mentioned that about the bump group. And that's through Hancock. Is that, so anybody that's in Hancock, you can go to this bump group? Is that
anybody? I welcome moms. I have moms from out of Hancock Health. We just want that as a support group. So that is something I offer to all moms. I want them connected, and some live in Hancock County, some don't. So keep that in mind.
Okay. And we will actually, after this, we'll post a link to it.
Right.
Into the comments so people can check that out. That's awesome. So Lisa, is there anything else you want to add before we get ready to jump off? Is there anything you can think off the top of your head? Sorry to put you on the spot.
No, you're fine. You know, we are still having babies. I know that this is not what a lot of moms have envisioned, and having either their first baby or second, third, whatever baby that you're having. We're still having babies, and there is a silver lining to a lot of this, because I'm finding that moms are enjoying things in a new light. So stay encouraged. Let people bring meals to the doorstep and wave to them through the door if you need to, but just enjoy this time and reach out to us because we're here to help you.
I love that. Yes. So thank you, Lisa. It's so wonderful to see you, even though we're not in person. But I appreciate you taking the time. I really love all the support and your knowledge that you are willing to share with our moms. So thank you so much. And we will link that bump group, and we will link the maternity and child services at Hancock Health as well in here. But if you have questions, feel free to post them on here and we'll come back to them, or you can even reach out to Lisa directly. So, and we'll get them to her. So thank you so much for being here today, Lisa.
Happy to be here. Happy to help. Have a great rest of your Bloom event.
Thank you. Thank you so much for joining us today.